I don't know about you, my friend, but I am constantly feel this pressure to keep up, to stay ahead, to win this rat race of life. And the thing is, Jesus wasn't in a rush. You see, in our microwave society, everybody is screaming at you how you need to hustle and grind and work harder and do more and do this and do that. And it leaves every one of us feeling like I'm behind. Like I will never catch up, I will never be enough. Right? So maybe it's time that we slow down and realize that falling behind is not failing, it's actually walking in God's perfect timing. That's what I want to explore with you today. Okay, so here's a crazy thought. Being behind can actually give you more peace than being ahead. More money, more problems, bigger business, bigger problems, right? The more things you have to think about, the more ahead you are, the more you're caught up in the rat race, the more complex your life gets, and the more problems you can actually have, right? So when you're ahead, you have success, but there's just more things to worry about. Right? And then you're also worried about falling behind, even though you're successful. The person at the top, if they fall farther than the people who are below them. The more successful you get, actually, the more you feel like you're behind. The more successful you are, the more pressure there is to keep up. But when you're behind, the only person you got to worry about competing with is you. And that's a really freeing thing. I felt this myself, right? The last 6 years have been hard. I've spent them watching people on Instagram and YouTube moving forward with their lives and just feeling like I'm behind. I'm in a season where not a whole lot's going on. I'm in a planting season. Not a whole lot's going on. I'm feeling stuck. It seems like nothing's happening in my life. And consuming a lot of content and listening to other Christian YouTubers and podcasters, the number one thing that has freed me is this, that it's okay to be behind and that there's no such thing as getting ahead. You see, the Bible shows us a completely different way of living. Jesus didn't attach his identity to how hard he worked, hustling and grinding. He didn't even attach his identity to the fact that he was Jesus, the Son of God, equal with God. He came to serve. Jesus didn't come to prove how awesome he was, right? He came to serve us. Jesus did not come to prove how awesome he was. He came to serve us. Right? And the disciples, another example, they gave up everything by worldly standards, right? Jesus called them from their careers, from their families. They left everything. You don't think the world thought that they were foolish and they were behind? But they actually impacted the world more than 99% of other people. They impacted the world almost more than anybody else. They followed God's calling and they changed the world. It reminds me of that verse, right? The first shall be last and the last shall be first. And the kingdom of God being last actually puts you ahead, right? Maybe God might want you to step off the hustle wheel. All right, so why is this so hard? Because we feel the pressure to prove ourselves and to feel worthy and to feel known and loved by people, right? Especially in American culture, we idolize productivity. People who work hard are praised, they're lauded, they're approved, they're celebrated. And I understand we also live in a culture that has pushed back. Let's be real, a lot of people are lazy, and right, the Bible condemns laziness, absolutely. But there's this middle ground that I think some of us are afraid to live in, and it's the ground of working hard but resting. The ground of, working like it depends on you but trusting like it depends on God, right? That ground that some of us are afraid to live in. And now with my own personal journey, it's tough because when people ask, what do I do for work? It's awkward for me to sit there and say, oh, technically I'm unemployed, or I'm in a stage of figuring things out after trying and failing to grow 5 or 6 different business ideas, or I've been unemployed for almost a year, and it's tough. It's hard, right? We equate our work with productivity. But here's the thing, and here's the key message. Sometimes, because our worth is tied up in productivity, we start settling and doing things that God is not calling us to do because we don't want to sit in a season of things that are uncomfortable. And we don't want to sit in a season where it feels like nothing is happening. So we go chase an opportunity or start doing something that God isn't calling us to do, right? Some of us settle for counterfeit callings because we want an easier, approved path that makes us feel like we're being productive. And this is the trap of productivity. It can lead you to settle for a counterfeit calling. Okay, one example, it's pretty common, going to grad school, not because you actually need to, not because it's going to help you further your career, but just because everybody else is doing it, and now you're taking on debt that you don't need. Or starting a business, not because you're actually called to, but because it's trendy. Or, writing a book, not because you're called to, but because everybody else is doing it. Here's something that's surprising is there's a stat. I'm not sure how true it is, but it's, it seems like there's some validity to it. They say that 70% of people hate their job. Or at least 70% of Americans are working jobs that they hate. Why? A lot of times because it's easier to work a job that you hate, that's stable, predictable, that, your family approves of, than it is to actually go after something that you're actually called to do. And it's funny because you spend 8 hours a day at your job. Most people spend more time at their job than with their families. 8 hours a day. There's 24 hours in a day. That's like 30% of your day that you spend at a job you hate. And that adds up over time. That's like 30% of your life doing something that you're not meant to do. By the way, if I'm a stranger to you and you're just joining me on this messy journey, I'm Jackie Ferrari. I'm a creator and musician, just trying to figure out creativity, faith, and life. If you're a fellow young adult in that messy middle, you're in the right place. I share my journey of doubt and discovery and break down a lot of misconceptions here on this channel. Also make music and other content as well. So hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and yeah, let's keep this conversation going. All right, so what's the answer to all this productivity trap? It's not even just about following your passion. That's not what this is about. This is about following your calling. I talked about finding your calling and, not wasting your life in my last video. And there are two parts to it, right? There's discovering it and then walking in it. To discover it, you might have to go through a hard season. Nothing seems to be happening. It's kind of the season I'm in, right? No job, hardly any money, no chances to travel. And God might be calling you to that season specifically. And then once you discover it and choose to walk in it, you might have to go through another hard season. Your calling might bring setbacks, it might bring criticism, it might bring more instability. But that is what God uses to do his best work in us. He can't do that if we're in our comfort zone, if we're running from the things he's called us to do. If we're like Jonah, we run from our calling because it's uncomfortable. And it's crazy that our education system doesn't prepare us for this, unfortunately. It gives us a narrow set of jobs that we go after, most people, right? Doctor, lawyer, teacher, maybe engineer, architect, right? There's like maybe 10 to 15 traditional jobs that most people are on the path to do. Reality is there are thousands of jobs that you could do that most of us have never even heard of, especially with technology, creating new jobs every day. Like there are thousands of jobs and callings out there that most of us aren't even aware of. And because we live in this society where there's these narrow set of things that you're supposed to do, we're not exposed to other options and other ideas. And instead of taking a risk and maybe going out of the comfort zone and exploring those other things that may be out there, instead of going through that process of figuring it out, that messy process, we settle for something that's stable and predictable and that'll make our family and friends happy. And okay, I guess I'm good at math. I guess I should be an engineer. That might not be what God's calling you to do. I was recording inside a room inside the library and I ran out of time, so I had to move outside just to finish this up for you. But just want to encourage you, there's thousands of options out there. So go explore, go through that messy process of trying to figure things out. It's okay. You're not going to die even if people laugh at you and make fun of you, right? Don't settle for a path, a calling, career just because it looks easy and has the stamp of human approval. Don't assume that also means that's where God is leading you. Sometimes God leads us to the things that are difficult. Trust the process. It takes experimentation. And walk in your calling even if it's messy. Don't let that deter you. Go read the stories all throughout the scriptures where people, they were walking in their calling, but they went through incredibly hard things, incredibly difficult things. And the sad thing is nobody applauds the person who's struggling, who's trying to figure things out, who's going through a messy process of maybe wandering in circles, but that might be where God is calling you to. And that doesn't mean you're failing. Just because you're going in circles doesn't mean you're failing. And that's what I have to remind myself of. God's timing is not yours. Be still and know that he is God. Remember, your identity is not in your job title or what you do. It's in the fact that you're a child of God. All right, so I want to hear from you. Share your story. How have you felt behind in life lately, and how are you handling it? Let's encourage each other in comments below. Thanks for being here. Check out whatever videos YouTube has on this screen right here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
I wanted to impress you. I wanted to impress you. I wish that I could wake up and stop trying to be perfect, yeah, and kill the lies that all of my flaws are proof I don't deserve it. 'Cause if I wasn't scared, I was present and somehow more than, maybe you'd stay in my